So today we're starting on a 2006 Ford F350 with 6.0. I'm going to be removing the intake manifold and resealing. Actually, we're going to be replacing the oil, the Egr Cooler. I don't know where my brain's at today. So I'm going to start on the other side, and I'm going to pull the coolant reservoir out. And these gauges are aftermarket. We're going to set this one. I'm going to shove it down here so I don't break it. Same thing with this one. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, we'll pull the airbox. It's got a hot air intake on it. We'll pull that clamp. Undo this. That goes towards the rock. I don't want to break the radiator. So I'm going to pop it off. Let me get a better view over here. It's going to be a little bit noisy. I do have a swamp cooler running because it is 100 and, you know, about 105 degrees outside right now. So I already undid this clamp. I'm going to unhook the mass air. We'll pull the dipstick so I don't break the dipstick. Someone already has. The airbox, this one has the, like I said, aftermarket hot air intake. Doesn't have an air filter binder port. That's not very good, but each his own. Okay, got the hot air box out. Now next we'll pull the charge tube off. We're in an 11mm. And we're going to get the one down over here on the bottom of the intercooler. Okay, that one's loose. And this one, to get it off, it has a metal ring inside, so you just tug on it and it goes inside like that. And I'll show you a trick on how I get it back in, because they can be a fight. Next, let's get the hose clamps off the coolant reservoir. On this truck, and I'm bending that clamp a little bit, the Egr Cooler, where it goes in the bottom of the intake manifold, is leaking. The customer, he's kind of like me. We like to overdo things. So we are putting a Bulletproof Egr Cooler in it, because I have to take it out to reseal it anyway, so it's not a bad idea. I would do it if I was him. So I got the clamp and the hose out the bottom. We're going to pull this out of the way, because I will be doing injectors in this too. Okay. Just give me some more room. Now we're going to go ahead and pull the inlet off to the turbocharger. I'm going to undo the two bolts on the front of the FICM. There's the two nuts, the bracket broken of course. I'm going to pop the PCB pipe out, the valve cover, pull this off, and it's melted and ripped. That's nice. Look at that. Never ends. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and trade you guys sides. Like I said, it's gonna be a little noisy because of the swamp cooler. And race cars driving around. I have a lot of those. Without breaking it. Let's see, now we're going to pull the charge tube. careful of the wiring on the back. And then I'm going to take it all there and just set it over here. Something like that. Okay. I'm going to switch you sides so you're not in the brunt of the swamp cooler. Okay, now we're going to need to pull, there should be 215s that go through the front of the fan stator cover into the bottom of the intake manifold. Okay, and sometimes they stand there, sometimes they don't. This is what they look like. The other one, let's put those up there, put that right there. Okay, next on the chopping block, we're going to pull the 8s out of the intake horn into the intake. You have to take this off because there's a tab that goes into the fan stator, and most people, they don't understand this tab right here. This is just an alignment tab, so when you put the stator in, it stays there because it's kind of heavy to hold the fan and the stator in. No nut belongs there. All it is a stud and a hole. Had some people put nuts on them. I mean, I guess. Okay. This one I might need to use a swivel for. Nope. Okay, that one. Gotta make sure your bolts stay up there nice and good. You don't want them falling down, especially inside the engine. And there's a 10 right here that holds the fuel line across it with the passenger side. A little gear wrench right there. Now rip it right out. And then we'll pull the 8 from the coolant line right there. And we'll start working on the turbocharger. And this 8 is a shorty, so make sure you put that one in a special place. Or that 10, sorry. That's the one that holds the fuel line in. Here's that one for the coolant. It's just a little tiny 8 again. I'm going to let me grab a bungee cord so I can bungee this up there, and I'm going to need some rags and an 8mm gear wrench. I'll be right back. Okay, now we're going to pop this clip out. This clip doesn't usually pop right out. Get these off. I have to destroy them, break this housing. Then I have to get that off as well. For the heater control valve. Can't really get anything in there. That's not too fun. I'm gonna get a pair of dikes. Okay, I've tried to cut that, I've tried to get the clip out. It's too tight, so I'm gonna cut it and then I'll re-zip tie it when I'm done. Cut on the back. So hopefully it slides through like that. Get the bungee. Yeah, you can. See if somebody else will. I don't. I already ate. I'm okay today. Okay. Again, I like the electrical connector. Look at that. Look at how hot this turbocharger got. The aluminum's melted to the wiring. Now we're going to pull the 210s off the turbo oil feed. And like I said before, you gotta be careful with these bolts. These 10s that go on top of the turbo, they're different size than all the other ones. The ones that hold the turbo down are longer. This is the short one that goes in front of the intake, so you want to make sure you put these in a special place so they don't get mixed up. What?
Tim broke down.
Did he? Okay.
So I told him, he said it still cranks, but it won't start.
Okay.
I said, let it sit for like 10 minutes and try it.
Does he have any ICP?
I don't think, did he take the steering with him?
Well, so what okay, so next we're gonna get the oil feed line off the turbocharger. And the wonder is that plastic? Oh, that is interesting. The truck is definitely overworked. So, from what I was told, this truck has a 7,000 pound camper in the bed of it. And I've driven it with that camper. I don't know if it's 7,000 pounds, but it is a lot of weight. I've driven my truck with 3,000 pounds in the back, and it is nothing compared to this truck. This is a 3,500, mine's a 2,500. Not a Ford. But this, I think, is melted plastic. If I was, yes it is, because what it's doing is sucking it in. Oh my goodness. Turbocharger feels okay. It's got no in and out play, a little bit of up and down, which is okay because it's in the journal. The oil, the way it is, it's fine. And you don't want to loosen that one up all the way. The clamp is facing the wrong way from the other side, so that's cool. Okay, there's one clamp, but luckily I can compare it to an 11mm gear wrench, little tiny baby gear wrench. Once I get this turbocharger out, I'm gonna have to let them know I'm gonna need that inlet, because I'm supposed to have this done in 2 days. And I have to do replace the Egr cooler. I'm gonna do 4 injectors on the driver's side, and I gotta do a cam sensor. And I'm hoping to have all this done today. And right now it is about 2 o'clock. So, yeah. And then I still have to do rebuild the front end. We're doing ball joints, tie rods. Everything's worn out again. You know, it's a lot of weight that the customer has on the back of the truck, so it doesn't make it easy on it. And the other thing, you want to be careful with stuff near the edge of the intake, because you don't want, when you pull the intake off, you don't want stuff falling down into the engine. It could get very, very bad very fast. You can tell how hard the turbos work with the color of the exhaust housing. I'm going to let them know that they're definitely working this truck outside of its specification. Do, 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 do. It's killing my hand. Oh, I gotta get up in here. That's been popped. Let's go ahead and pop the other portions. Oh, that was actually pretty easy. See if it has any bolts. It has a bolt back here. It should be pretty tight, so that's good. These bolts, they rattle out. I've seen some come in with no bolts in it. It's like, well, you know, it's bad for the up pipes. The turbocharger's moving around. And then I have to grab some wrenches to pull the fuel lines off the fuel filter housing. Torques to pull the oil filter housing. And a 36. I should pull the oil filter in a minute. I'll pull that next, so it can drain the housing down. Okay, I got one. Now I didn't grab the right socket for the one in the back. Assuming there is one. Yes, there is. So let me go grab that right now, and I'm gonna let them know about that boot. Okay, I'm gonna pull the oil filter cap off. Oh, dummy. Dummy, dummy, dummy. Just wanna lift it up like that, just let it drain. Okay. Now we're gonna go to the back. This is what I use to get the bolt in the back on the later style trucks because the bolt's facing down. Use an impact rated socket. If you don't, you could strip it, and you don't want to. Done it before, not worth it. That one was pretty tight. And I already let them know about the inlet boot, so hopefully one's available, because like I said, this is supposed to be done in a couple days. Literally a couple days. Would have been almost done last week, but when people don't show up to work, it slows everything down. It sucks. Okay, so now we're gonna pop the downpipe off. We're gonna go like that on the tab. You don't want to bend the tab, you just want to pop it. I'd seen I bent it a little bit, that's okay. The up pipe, you want to just move the clamp to one, either the turbocharger or the up pipe. Doesn't really matter. Just don't want it driving beads around the down pipe or the up pipe. Okay. Then I just take my pry bar, stick it in the plastic turbocharger. It's already off on me. There we go. Take a little bit more force than I prefer, but just with all the heat running through this thing. There's the turbo. Next, I'm going to go ahead and pull the FICM out and the FICM harness. It should be 8s. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and get these loose, get the FICM and the FICM harness out, so that I'm free and clear to do the intake. Then we can leave this stuff apart over here when I go and put it back together, or when I'm doing the injectors. There's 1/8, now I gotta get the bottom one. Make sure you don't drop the bracket. There's a little bracket with 2 holes in it. And early to late, they're all different. Sometimes they have big nuts with like washers on them. This style is the newer style. With the 6.0. Don't drop it like I did. That wasn't pain enough to touch it. Let's unplug the FICM. I'm going to set the FICM on the ground. Now when you unplug the FICM, there's two tabs. You want to make sure you push down evenly on both and pull them out. You don't want to break them. Now we have the FICM harness I'm going to have to deal with. Let me just put this somewhere out of my way. So I'm just going to go ahead and start unplugging the injectors. Again, you just, like I showed in the other video, push down on the tab. I'll show you when I get them out. But we're going to go ahead and undo all of them. Pull the whole harness out, get it out of the way so that when I go to pull the intake, I don't break any injector connectors. Because you break the connector, then you have to actually replace the injector. I mean, you can probably buy a pigtail online. I'm not aware of that, but I'm sure there is something available. Okay. Then pull this side out. We'll be careful with this harness. These things are almost 20 years old now. And sometimes that's the first time in a long time I've ever seen one popped in the oil cooler like it's supposed to be. These trucks are now usually been messed with and worked on by 30 different people. Okay, I got all those. Now there's a ground that I'm about to get. And the ground's under that shield, which is kind of weird, but that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. So now we have a 10. We'll pull the two 10s off the upper part. These should actually be 8s, but it's not gonna, it doesn't matter. And hopefully the stud comes out. Okay, now we have the 10 up from the stud. We'll pull the bracket off. There's the bracket. And now we should be able to pull the whole harness out. So like I was saying on these fuel injectors, you want to push down on this metal tab, pull it out, and then usually when I install them, I try to push down on them as well and put them on, just so you're not putting too much pressure on the injector. And then this is the ground back there. See, it's all nice and frayed from all the excessive heat. And then these connectors, see how you pinch it there, and the same thing on the bottom. You pinch them both, pull them out. Really, really simple. You can take the metal clips out of the connectors for the injectors, but I wouldn't do it. I've had people here do it before. I don't understand why they do it, but each his own, you know. And then we're gonna go ahead and bend this tab. Bend it like that. You want to be careful not to break it. So I'm gonna need a blower nozzle, and then I'm going to have to I need to zip tie some of these fuel lines. I'll show you what we're gonna do with that. But for a second, we can unplug the EGR valve. We're going to unplug the Egr. Okay, and then we're going to unplug, there's a fan connector over here. Unplug the fan, unplug the ECT. Pull those out, and those go under the fuel line. Get that like that. There's an intake air temp sensor over here we're going to unplug. Again, the intake air looks just like the ECT. You just push it, pull it, comes right out. And then in the center of the valley, right here on the oil cooler, there's an oil pressure switch. The oil temperature is actually exactly the same as the ECT and the intake air. Push on it. This is the oil pressure, same thing. Push on it, pull it out. Be careful the weather pack. You can see the weather pack came out of the oil pressure switch, so I'm going to put that up there, save it for later. When I go and reassemble it, I can put it back in. I'm going to go grab some zip ties real quick, zip tie the fuel lines, and then we'll pull the filter housing. I'll blow it out, and I'll pull the intake. Okay, I already blew it off. Like you can see on this one right here, see the zip tie? We're going to go ahead and do that to these two over here. Let me find a good place. Put the camera so you can see. So neither of them have zip ties. So the reason why you zip tie it, if you don't, then it will just fall down. You can see this one's got a collar down there, but we're just gonna zip tie it, so I'm certain that we're not gonna deal with an issue. You can zip tie it on the corner. You can zip tie it almost right up to it. It doesn't matter. But lucky us, we have a bunch of Jasper paint on this engine, because this is a Jasper reman engine from a few years ago, probably like 7. Okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and hold this one. It's a 21. See how I did that? You want to make sure you counter hold the inside. So what I usually do, I think I use the 21 on the inside. Maybe not, maybe the 22. Stick the 22 like this. These ones always come out like this. I get it lined up. Then you want to hold it and twist it off. Just like that. You always want to make sure you counter hold it, because if you don't, you'll twist that fuel line. You'll kink it. And then we're going to have some fuel drip out. You just want to make sure you don't drip it on the belt. And then the ones I go to the cylinder head should be 18s. That was a 21, and like I said, I use a 22 for the inside. It might be a 21 on the inside as well. These ones generally don't do what that one does and twist. So this one's not too big of a deal. Usually I like to stick a rag under here so this thing doesn't piss fuel everywhere. I don't want to get it on the hose. It'll usually drip down the intake and fall down the back, which I really don't care. There's that. And then next we have a 19. This is the banjo bolt right here. I think this is the actual feed line. And this one will piss fuel too, so you just let that kind of do its thing. I wait to pull the other side till the very end so that I don't get fuel on the belt. That's the last thing that I want. Especially if we're going to reuse the belt. Like in this case, I want to. So I'm being extra careful to not get fuel on the belt. So make sure you save both your copper washers, unlike me. So I'll save both of those, and I usually just set it on the battery so I don't lose it. I don't want to set it on the cowl and get fuel on the cowl. So we got that. Now that one's off. We're going to go ahead and pull the other side. Remove you. We're going to go ahead and pop the 18 off the other side. Then we can shove a rag down here to help try to collect any residual fuel. Shouldn't be very much. Okay. Now the same socket that I use for the injectors, which is a T40, the custom one that I made out of a Blue Point one, I just cut the head off of it a little bit and trimmed it down. These are T40s as well on this oil filter housing. There's 4 of them. Got 1, 2, and then there's 3 right here, and there's 4 right here. Okay. Now you want to make sure you pull the oil filter out, you know, obviously a good deal before you do this, because when you do this, if you don't, it'll just pour oil everywhere. When we're releasing the filter, there's going to be oil in there, but it's not going to be pouring out of it like it would have been. So I'm going to go ahead and take this rag. We'll take this housing out. This one's got this little aftermarket gauge in here we're going to move. Okay. Let's make sure the seal stays in there. I usually take a rag, just run it around it like this. Keep anything big from getting down in there. Okay. Now we've got that off. Let's get this. Let's see if I can get a better view. Hopefully that's decent. I'm gonna go ahead and get this map sensor hose off. Now you want to always try to take it off on the intake side. If you try taking it off on the map sensor side, you might break it. Very common these things break, even just touching them. I've broken a few of them. Just be safe, I just unbolt them. Take the 10s out, unbolt it, move it. Just like so. Get it out of the way so we don't break it. Now next up is the intake manifold. We're going to need an 8. So we're going to need a singular 8. There's only one 8 on here. And that's on the cooler air, the bushing that's all nice and melted. Because this truck gets really hot apparently. It's overworked. So we're gonna go ahead and take this one out. And this, I'm gonna set it over there. Now, a little trick that I do with the intake bolts. If you didn't see the last video that I did, I'm working on one of these, but this is a later, that one was an early. Where the studs go, I just scratch the intake, so I know exactly where they go. I can't remember everything. As much as I'd say I love it, I can't. Yes.
I have an 05 Duramax.
Okay.
He has a tranny leak.
Okay.
Explain nothing internal.
Okay.
That we do. He says it's coming from the back. Extension out.
Okay.
I don't know if it's something I'll look at.
Yeah, tell them we can take a look at it. It just depends on what it is.
Cool.
Yeah, if it's something we can't do, we obviously not going to do it though. Usually I just take them out and set them per side so I don't get them confused. There's that. Then you don't want to forget about these two. These will hold the Egr cooler to the actual intake. I personally leave the cooler in there still when I take this apart. I've seen people do it different. That's just the way that I do it. I've never done it the other way, and I'm sure it works just fine. Us to look at it right now. Okay, I'll get this side out. These ones I'm not going to set on the cowl because they have fuel on them. I don't want to get fuel on the customer's cowl. And if you don't know what I mean by cowl, it's a piece of plastic under the wipers, between the hood and the wipers, where I set most of everything up there. Just try not to set contaminated hardware up there. Okay, so all the bolts are out. I already blew it off. I blew it off camera, so I didn't have to blow everybody's eardrums out. I'm gonna look down, make sure there's no bolts stuffed in between the intake and the cylinder head. Just have a zip tie over here, the one that I cut. Still kind of. Oh, looks good. Okay. So now, fun part. So you want to pop the Egr Cooler off. I usually just go like so, like that, pops right out. Hopefully there's no coolant because I've been draining it for the entirety of this video. Actually before the video even started. So we're gonna go ahead and just slide this sucker out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab some rags. Look at that freaking seal. It's crazy. I'm gonna go grab some more rags and I will pull the cooler out. Okay. Now what I like to do is cover these open ports with rags to do my best to prevent me dropping anything else down there. Just take a rag, fold it. There's that zip tie I cut earlier, that's trash. Everything's so baked in here because of the heat. Usually these oil return lines pop right out. Goodness. Needs to definitely chill out on the weight of this truck. I don't think I've ever had one stuck like this. Goodness. So we'll go ahead and pull the bracket first. And the bracket is for 10mm bolts.
Tell it, he's fucking throwing the battery, he's fucking trying to crank it. I don't think it was that low on the dipstick either.
You'll be okay. And then here I found the turbo bolt. Again, I'm gonna put that over there. I don't want to get on the cowl. I want to have a cowl by getting it on the cowl. Tried to get this oil to turn. It feels like it's coming. Goodness. That's crazy. Let me grab some lube. See if maybe that helps. No, dealer. Yeah. Well, that seemed to kind of work. Wow, that's like deep in there. Okay, here's the pedestal. 412 or 410s that I pulled off. Gonna sit over here. Just want to make sure it doesn't fall in the truck. And then we have this right here. Silicone? What is up with the silicone? Okay, and what I was getting is the clamp on the back of the Egr cooler. Goodness. Pry it gently. You don't want to scratch that aluminum piece. Try not to scratch it. This truck is, it's gonna leak a little bit of coolant. Cooler. And here's the gasket. Let me go grab the new one.